All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Freedom Mastery. I am Rita Lawrence and I'm just your host. Most of what comes from me is from my mentors and coaches, and everything else is divinely inspired. And I just share what comes to me and what I'm reading. I have some books and some recommendations that I have shared in the files section of the group. So you'll be able to go there and just find everything you need. There are several courses in there already. And then this one now that we're adding. So the reason I called it Freedom Mastery is because when you're looking at mastery goals, you're looking at really, instead of like measurable goals, you're looking at more of like growing perseverance and growing belief and just creating a desire to keep learning. Really is what mastering something is all about. And it's a constant journey. It really never stops. Now, there is a time where they say if you've achieved 10,000 hours of coaching or training from someone or for a certain thing, that you've then mastered that skill or that trade or art, whatever it is. The only thing I've done for that long of my life has probably been my photography. Parenting is new. This is new, fairly new. But you know, everything that I see in my life, I see everything as just I'm mastering it. Each day I'm working to get better and better each day and to help those around me, especially my children, do the same thing and not get caught up on performance goals versus just working on mastering whatever it is. And I love the saying that I'm trading my to-do list in for a to-be list, because I was a big to-do list person. It was actually when I joined Melody's accountability course, was a little difficult for me because it's a to-do list. You have a list of things to do every day. And I was like, oh no, I got my to-do list back. And that's not what I wanted. But in becoming who we are, who God within us, there's always that becoming. There's always a time where you're going to put in more energy. You're going to put in more investment. Maybe it's time, maybe it's money, maybe it's just not doing other things that aren't harmful or anything, but that just take up time. So anytime you're feeling like you don't have time, it's just a good time. That's a good acknowledger to evaluate where you're spending your time and take a conscious look. So I titled this series Awakening to Your Greatness. And I wanted to make it clear that I don't believe that any specific person is actually awakening. What I really see this as, and this is kind of something that's just come to me, is that we're awakening from the illusion that we're separate from God, that we are actually solo on our own by ourselves. Like, that is an illusion. We really are not alone. We're not by ourselves. Hi, Rick. Thank y'all for joining. We're not alone. We have that principle of power within us. And I call that, the name that I call it is God. And everybody calls it something, you know, different. There are different types of believers. There's all different religions. I'm not here to convince or to try to tell you that you should believe what I believe or anything like that. I'd like to encourage you to follow your spiritual practice and your path that you're already on. Most of us are already on one of some kind. You know, whatever feeds your soul and your spirit, whatever inspires you to just reach beyond what physically is possible. You know, miracles, that only happens with God within us. We, our own self, aren't capable of much. I do believe that principle of power in God within us helps us do everything that we succeed at. That is the foundation. So hi, Rick, you got on. Yay. Good to see you. So what we'll be focusing on is improving ourselves and our skills every day, little by little, one step at a time, one day at a time. I like to imagine, like, the visual that came to me is that we're all like candles, right? And you know, you can think of the children's song, I'm gonna let my let my light shine, I'm going to let it shine. So I think of us as lights, like as candles. And you know how when you first light a candle, it flickers, or like a lighter, and it'll flicker a little bit and it can be easily blown out. But once it's strong and it's burning and it's got the support, you know, to feed the flame, then it's much stronger and it's brighter and it's not easily blown out. And I know that sounds so elementary, but I really see these kinds of communities and online groups that way, as that support piece, that strength that's going to keep us all lit. So when it comes to like Facebook and all of our, I know we're each on a separate journey. You know, it's all unique and individual. There's nobody really going to be doing the exact same thing. But if you're in the different groups and organizations that I'm in, then you probably will be doing a lot of the same things I'm doing. So we're all learning. I'm learning this with you. You know, my success mentors are millionaires. Robert Wallace is actually a multimillionaire, and he's actually created over 50 millionaires. So that's really the big part of what makes him different than the other coaches and other people that I've coached with and trained with and paid thousands of dollars. He actually helps you learn how to be a coach if you want to be a coach, how to teach his content. Like, he's allowed me to teach his content to you and to charge for it. Like, it's a different situation when you're in a smaller community versus some of the coaches out there. So when you're looking to hire somebody and when you're looking for that next level, I would always recommend Melody and Robert if you're into Facebook marketing. They're definitely the pros, but I'm going to give you everything that I learned and answer any questions that I can. And you guys are always welcome here in this group. You guys also have access to Melody and Robert. And when it comes to anything with My Daily Choice or Vision Team, I always recommend you go back to them for mentorship for that specifically, because I'm not an expert at that. You know, I'm not making millions of dollars in network marketing. I have made several thousand this year in network marketing. And most of that was actually not a lot of intentional work. So I am definitely here to attest that it works, and that once you put in some time building what we're building, you know, your platform on Facebook, your social media, your audience, it gets easier. And people do start coming into the door. People start asking you what you're doing. It gets so much easier. Your friends start to come to you and finally trust you because they see that you're doing something. So anyways, community, when it comes to making changes in life, anywhere, whether it's in your relationship, your personal habits, I've changed a lot of very, very personal habits. I've had a spending habit. I was taking pain medications most of my life. There's that fine line between labeling things. I'm not into labeling things. I'm not into saying I was addicted. However, I had addictive habits. And, you know, there's just a time where you need support, and where it's easier to have somebody to kind of let you know you're not alone, really. You know, I'm not here to tell you I know what you're going through, or that I'm the answer or the way to anything. But I am here to just be a support for you to find your way, for you to find the greatness in you. I do believe it's God that is going to help you get to whatever that next level is that you're going for, that you want to be great in. So first of all, I also want to mention that if you want to contact me, if you need quick responses, the best way to reach me is by email. And my email is Rita, R-I-T-A, @bitsybaby, BITSYBABY.com. And I'll put this in the Freedom Mastery group as well for you. But right now, that's the quickest and most efficient way. I often get backed up in my Facebook messages, and I know it's not very professional to get behind in my messages, but I do prioritize my family over my work. So when I get behind on my Facebook messages, I check my emails first, because I know that anybody that I'm helping more one-on-one or more closely, I've given them my email. And that's what I check after my morning routine. Before I even go to Facebook, I check my email. And that's who I respond to first before I even get on social media. or in the earlier parts of the day to just make sure I get to everybody. Yes. So I want to start with the verse here, and Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." And that's actually the if you could say that I was going to have like a theme for this first week, that's what it would be, on being still and just realizing that greatness within us, because God whispers. And in the beginning, when I first started my growth journey and really got serious and started saying that I'm going to do stuff daily versus whenever I felt like it, and I mean all kinds of things, not just business routine. Like, I mean my morning ritual, listening to my meditations, praying, like those things are priority musts every day for me. And they used to not be. And when I started making those a priority, and specifically in the earlier parts of the day, is when I started to notice more success, more growth, not only in me personally, in my heart, able to forgive myself, able to forgive others, able to see myself in others, meaning like I'm not as judgmental. I work on consistently not being judgmental and not seeing things as good or bad or positive or negative, but just seeing it all just as is, because everyone has a different perception and a different perspective. And the more general that we can see things, the more we're going to be able to help each person that we're going to meet each day on Facebook. The more general we can see their situation and, see the beauty in whatever it is they're going through, remind them of whatever you see in them. That only happens when we've given ourselves that stillness first, so that then we can hear that voice, that discernment, that say this to this person, or don't even talk to this person anymore because they're just wasting your time. Where you can actually start to feel your conversations with people versus just reading them and hearing them. Just a moment, I have a child knocking on the door. Let me let them. It's dead. Sorry. Okay. Hi, Corey. Thanks for joining. Hi, Coach Barbara. Good to see you. So actually I'm just now getting into it, and the rest of it's going to go really quickly. I had a lot of pre-prep, so you ladies can listen in to the beginning as well. Yeah, okay, you can take it. Okay, they're slowly taking all my devices. All right. So what I'm going to do now is give you six different
Mommy! I'm trying to read.
I hear you, Corey. I don't know how to mute him. Oh, maybe it's not. She's muted, so it can't be her. Okay. So number one is choose the victory. Any person may become great. We all have the same light within us. The same God who is responsible for every miracle that's happened in my life is the same God that's in Robert Hollis, that's responsible for his millions, that's in your life, responsible for your children and your family and the miracle of you. First of all, you have to turn that down, buddy. Can you turn that down? Turn it down, buddy. Jax, turn it down. So sorry. We cannot blame anything completely on heredity, on our environment, on our situation, on genetics. Like, I know studies show that there's a predisposition, like say addictions, or say just the predisposition to like have depressive moods or anger. A lot of times you'll see that runs in families. Like someone's dad was that way, their kids will be that way. So they say that it's genetics and it's in the genes and it's in your DNA. Truth be told, we can rewrite our DNA. The Bible supports that actually is possible. And it can, the fact is, a lot of that is not technically in our DNA. Technically, it's a lifestyle that's passed down. And, you know, a lot of people aren't ready to admit it. You can't tell that to most people because, you know, they think, because everyone wants the best for their children, first of all. You know, we all want to do the best. We all do the best we can. So there's nobody, I mean, there are, but I'm not going that route, you know, that intentionally are out to get somebody in those situations when you're raising children and there's these generational things going on. But there is a choice that we do come to in time, I do believe, where we can choose to rewrite our story and where we can choose to reframe our life experiences that have caused us pain or that we think or feel cause our depressive moods or our anger or our addictions or whatever it is that causes. You know, those are all just symptoms is kind of just the way I see it. And that we can actually reframe our perception of what those experiences were in our life. And it's super powerful. And it sounds crazy, but I mean, if anyone's ever heard Oprah's story, Google Oprah's story. If you have not heard it, I'm not going to mention it right now because there's children here around, but just Google Oprah, her story if you've not heard it, because it's very powerful and one of victory and healing and hope and a just amazing story to read and to know that we really can be victorious. We can choose victory today over anything. Like there's no waiting. We can do it today. All right. Number 2 is be enthusiastic. So the word enthesos actually means God within. And that union of God and man comes in different ways. I love meditating. I start with meditation. Some people start with prayer. I know Robert Hollis says he starts with prayer and then goes into meditation, and it just kind of flows through reading the Bible, attending church, whatever it is that connects you with your higher power, your God. That is something to spend time doing, because that enthusiasm that we want to have to stand out from the crowd, that comes from God within us. If you look at all of the successful, really big successful, you look at them and they have each piece of the puzzle. They might not be perfect in any area, but they have that mind, body, spirit where they are a believer. They have some kind of belief in the other areas that they grow daily and or on a regular basis anyway, or that they attribute their success to, you know. So I do believe that power is a huge piece of building a strong foundation for whatever it is you're being great at. And then number 3 is kind of goes along with that, not my will, but the higher will be done. And so the purpose of man is always to grow. We're to grow. Kids don't stop growing. When we become adults, our purpose is to continue growing. So for me personally, I like to make my daily, my checklist, my will, the will for my life, to know that I'm bettering myself every day, that I'm doing something to better myself every day, spiritually, personally, and I bring in, nutrition, holistic things with my food. I do connect mind, body, spirit. I'm not perfect at it. I work on each area as I can. I do schedule in time in the mornings for a morning ritual. That's changed everything for me, everything. So I always recommend I did a 111-day challenge. I just happened to be following somebody on Facebook. They were doing it, and it was like a spiritual post every day. I was like, you know what? That's awesome. I want to do my morning ritual for 111 days in a row. And I cannot put in words what that did for me. I just can't. My whole life is different. I literally would not be in the same situation I'm in right now in this home. Like, I was feeling defeated in so many areas of my life. And you look at Facebook and it didn't appear that way. It looked like everything was going fabulous. But I got to be authentic, and I didn't know what the future would hold for my family. and finding a mentor, connecting with God on a serious level, changed everything. Scary for us to grow, and I believe that I'm seeing in my life that when we get into situations where we struggle and where things are difficult, when things feel unendurable, that is when we've stopped growing. In some area, we might be pushing really hard in one area, going to the gym every day, calculating every single calorie you eat, but there's something missing in another area maybe that can be more balanced. So there are also there's some resources in the wellness course in the files, and that is like just a quick tool that you can look at every area of your life and kind of see where you're focusing. And I just, don't make any hard, just look at it and kind of be general with it. And I just have a range. I just middle. I want to kind of be a 4, 5, or 6 in all areas. That's just kind of, I'm okay if I'm not great at something. We're all have areas where we can be stronger, where we are stronger, and where we tend to do better at, right? There's some people that are great with like electronics and computers. My friend, I have a coach, Nicholas. If you see him on Facebook, Nicholas Hendrickson. He's a computer coach. He knows things about my computer just by me telling him a couple of things. He can know what's going on with my computer, and that's just crazy to me because I have no idea. I don't even know. So anyway, we're all inclined to be stronger in some area. What I want to tell you about this, though, is that doesn't mean that that's where you have to stay. So, for example, I was great in photography most of my life. Now I struggle physically to photograph. So I've had to reframe that life story of my portrait career to be beautiful and to be that now I'm a photography coach and I can help other people do it. And I've been able to find a way to still continue doing that, but know that there are seasons of change in our life and that, our career paths change. Sometimes unexpectedly. I don't know if you know Robert Hollis's story, but he actually broke his leg and he was an auto mechanic. So he couldn't do that after that and lost everything. And that pushed him into network marketing. He didn't have a choice. So that's almost what happened with me because I didn't have the coaching thing down. And what I realized when I had my health issues get bad is that I didn't have a backup plan for my business. I didn't have any source of income that I didn't have to do physical labor for. So I was done. I had to step away and say, hey, my body is priority. My family is priority. I don't have to do both. So I'm having to step away from my work and I'm going to focus on my family. And it was God all around. So just know that a lot of times things come around in ways that we don't expect it. So there's a plan and a map. And then there's this just level of flexibility that everyone has for their own self, what's comfortable for you. I am an overcoming procrastinator. So I've got to be careful with how flexible I am, how flexible I allow myself to be, because I'll let myself be flexible for several days in a row and then I get So if you know what areas you're weak in, I always say just don't focus on those too much. If you tend to focus on where you're strong and what you're good at, other areas fall into place, like other things you're good at or other ideas come along. So 4 is be in constant action. Self-action, it doesn't always have to mean you're doing something physical online for your work. Self-action counts. And actually, for me, has always been my priority, and the abundance and the finances have always continued to come in. Even though I've prioritized me and actions for me, like self-care for me. I know because I deal with physical issues that I can tend to put off washing my hair or put off taking a shower altogether. There were times where I was hurting so bad I couldn't even take a shower. So I always know that I'm always acknowledging what I'm taking for the good for myself that day. So always take action for you and acknowledge what you're doing at the end of the day, what you've done versus what you haven't done. So key to just realize what's next, because I wouldn't have known what was next in my career if I wouldn't taking the little steps that I needed to take each day along the way that wasn't really giving a whole lot of return right then and there, right? Like we take action a lot of times, I mean, with our children, look for how many years before they actually give something back to you from their heart. So growing in that, in just knowing that the journey, it's just all about the journey. I mean, it really does come down to that. Taking the action in each day and knowing that it's not about that, what's happening later. It really is about what's happening today. So number 5 is be determined to rise. You can be what you want to be, do what you want to do. There is a quote here, and I'm going to give you a book to get that this is, if you want to read ahead, you can always read ahead, but it's also, if you want to get the book, I don't sell it, but it's on Amazon. I'll put the link below this video. And this was in that book, and it says, the brain does not make the man makes the brain. So know that when you wake up in the morning, when we wake up in the morning, I love realizing every morning that I have control over my thoughts, how I feel, what I do, how I perceive the world. Like this is all in my control. I'm creating my brain today. And how do I want my brain to be? You know, what stage am I setting for myself? And, you know, I'm determined to rise each day. And I know that I wake up physically, personally, and I'm hurting physically. So I choose to have that mentality that I'm rising, I'm strong, and I verbally say these things out loud to myself through the day as I'm getting ready, as I'm, you know, challenged in whatever situation. But verbally speaking to yourself, if you pay a lot of attention, you probably are already doing it. So start to pay attention to the things that you're saying to yourself. The morning routine that's in the files, that's just so key. The I am statements, and that's just helped so much with how I talk to myself. I didn't realize I talked negatively to myself. I didn't realize that. Okay, so 6, the last one is the essential basis of greatness is wisdom. And oh, my husband's home. So, hold on. So our brain, our body, mind, our talents, all of these are just instruments that God is using to demonstrate His greatness. A lot of times, these things, you can think of a baby learning to walk. When you first start to do these things, it's not going to look great. It's not going to probably feel great. It's probably going to feel really uncomfortable anytime we first start doing something. And, you know, even as a child, like I see my children, at least my 9, 10-year-old, she's starting to be more hesitant if something's new, and if, you know, she'll kind of scale it out. You know, what are the possibilities? What's the potential that I can do this? And we have to remember that a lot of times our actions aren't going to reflect the true greatness of what's within us and what's coming forth through our actions. You know, to us, they might not look great. But if God is within us, it can only be great. It truly is. It's inevitable. We are highly favored. When I say that now, it's so powerful. And I've been saying that each day. Again, that's something also that I repeat to myself just as an affirmation. What is wisdom? So what is wisdom? What is it when we have, how do we know if we have wisdom? So wisdom is having the right perceptions at the right times.
Mama,
It's over there, buddy. Knowing when to make decisions, like knowing what. Yes, Sissy has it. Go ask Marina. Knowing the knowing the decisions to make. When it's time to make decisions, like quickly being able to know, does this resonate with me? Does this resonate with my goals? Is this going to get me ahead, or is this just a stall, or is this actually going to pull me back? You know, being able to see those things. You can think of the great analogy I had noted here was Abraham Lincoln, and how he was not known to be book smart or to be very smart, but he knew he was. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. So we know that he had very limited education, right? I don't think he even went to elementary school. And when he did, I think the teacher actually said he's got a really low IQ. He's not going to make it very far. And we know what happened there because he could perceive the right things to do. You know, he even had advisors I read at one time that were advising him not to make the decisions he was making. You know, they didn't want the freedom that he wanted and that he saw. They didn't see that. So he could perceive things that they couldn't. And I do believe that that's connecting with the mind of God. And that's where you literally elevate yourself above average. Most people aren't focusing on that. Most people are claiming they are the greatness. And where I'm all about love and, you know, I believe to my greatness. And I don't think that it's me physically. So that is it. That was the 6 things. And hopefully I didn't talk too much in between. I do want to keep these concise and easy for everybody to attend. So there are 3 things that I want to send you away with for this week to consider and to look at. So the morning ritual that's in the files, and I think I named it Journey to Freedom, Mind, Body, Spirit. It's basically just all the options you have for a morning ritual that I've offered you there. And you can choose which ones you like, which ones kind of resonate with you more. And then number 2 is write a perfect day. Write a perfect day and email it to me. And the first time I did this, it didn't take me long. And as I was able to really connect with what I felt was perfect, you know, our views and our perceptions change really daily in small ways. So it's really a beautiful way to see as you grow your view and your perception of perfection and what you really want and what's close to you. Like I look back now at some of my perfect days and I'm like, I don't want that anymore. It's not a perfect day anymore. Okay, and then go to this website. It's 16personalities.com. And
say it again.
What's that? You did it?
No, say it one more time.
Oh, 16personalities.com. And they'll have some questions for you to answer, and then it'll tell you which one's your personality. And the cool thing about this is it'll help you learn more about you, but it'll also, if you look at the other personalities, usually you'll quickly be able to be like, oh my gosh, that's my brother. Oh my gosh, that's my dad. Like, that's totally my dad. Like, you'll kind of see personalities pop out at you. And that website, 16personalities.com, has been a great help for me to be able to communicate with people and kind of see people for who they are. Because, you know, like I was saying earlier, we all have certain tendencies and certain, you know, ways. And supposedly this personality test is a pretty good generalization of the different ones. So I would love to know which one you are. Do that and then email it to me so that I can see that when you do it, because that would help me learn more about you too. And then let me look over here. Hi, Dawn. So yeah, so that's, and what I'll do is post this replay in the group too. So if you want to come back and watch the beginning, if you didn't catch the beginning, everyone that's watching the replay, thank you so much for coming back and taking advantage of this content. Oh, let me show you the book is The Science of Being Great. And this is the series. If you're familiar with my Journey to Freedom group, that group is all about giving away The Science of Getting Rich, the book, the audios, and then the movie The Secret. And in that book, Wallace Wattles recommended to read The Science of Being Well and also the science of being great, and also the science of winning love. So the science of being well and the science of winning love are already in the files section. Those are courses I did earlier this year. This one will be in there. So I'm really excited because I've just found a lot of advancements in my life from these books. And you get the book for this. I'm going to post an audio. There's an audio on YouTube, and I'll post that. Oh, I'm missing the chat. Thanks, guys, for chatting. Yes, y'all are welcome to chat over there. Thank you. So thank you, Corey, for listening in. So Amazon Corey L has not been on Facebook for a few days. She's been in the hospital, so please pray for her. She is home now, though, and feeling better. But I did want to give her a shout-out. Go to her page and tell her. I'm just so grateful and blessed, girl, to see you on. Thank you. We love you so much. Okay, here, I'm going to take this. So if anybody has any questions about anything, I'm here for you. And otherwise, I'm definitely value your time. So you're welcome to scoot out when you need to. Okay. Okay, guys, that is it. Listen, I made a post today, and you guys are welcome to share that. I am offering scholarship opportunities for this group, for those that join our business opportunity. This is additional support that they can have. Everybody won't take advantage of it, but it is an offer. And if they'll take a look at the questionnaire and just tell me a little bit about themselves, I'm offering this to help. We'll plug them into Vision Team, of course, and make sure they're seeing all of that. I won't business training necessarily, because if it's already in the Vision Team, it's been done. I don't need to do it again. I'm here to support more of your personal journey along the way, because we don't realize that working online and social media, network marketing, social marketing, it really is very personal. And I think that that is why a lot of people don't succeed at it, because they don't realize they're going to get personal with themselves and with other people. And it's good to be able to do that, because the world really does need more people that can listen and that can support people, that's not so overwhelmed and worried with their own life, that they can give back. And that's just my goal and my dream and my hope in my own life. Each day is to give back to my family, myself, my family, and my children. And I just want to inspire you to do that too. So thank you, guys. And I love you all. And we'll talk again. And yes, to love the children. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye, everyone.